Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Adobe Live here in the UK at midday. And you're in for a treat today. It's a special, a never attempted before setting up of three people in three separate countries, with Tim, of course, being the one who's nervous today because he's got quite a lot going on. So, as well as myself today, Tony Harmer, we've also got from Germany, Julia Zieger. Hello, Julia.
Hello. I got my mustache ready. I'm all Artketeers right now.
Ah,
And from Portugal, we have the lovely Raquel Costa. Hi, Raquel.
Hi, guys. So nice to be here with you. It's going to be lots of fun.
I think so too. So, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but you can't get involved in the chat. No. You can't type stuff to us and everything, and get involved with our lovely community. So come across to be.net/Adobe Live and join such fabulous people as Sandrine, who's here already. Steve, hi, Kiora, Steve. Russell is here. There you go. Hi, Russell. Maddie's here. Amazing. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Kirsty, hi, Kirsty. Galana's here. Sean is here. Guten Tag, Sean.
Guten Tag.
Angus is here. Emma's here. Hi, Emma.
Hello.
There we go. Oh,
Hi, everyone.
fantastic. And so actually, there are so many people. It's going to be very, very difficult to keep up with all of that. So there you go. So you may well know, if you've been watching regularly, that last week we put 3 drawing prompts into the chat on Discord. And you got to choose one of the drawing prompts for us to do drawing with. It's good stuff. And what we got was prehistoric pigeon. So that's the prompt we're all working to. We're all going to interpret this in our own way. Okay. We've done some pre-work. I think we've all done pre-work, haven't we? Have we all done
Yes.
pre-work?
We're all done.
Now, the thing is, who wants to go first? Because I think Julia, I haven't seen Raquel's yet. I saw Julia's. I thought it was very funny. So, who's going to be up first? Or I'll roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Okay,
All right, they're
first?
metaphorical, the dice. Julia, off you go.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
Artketeer number 1.
So I actually had different ideas. I was like, there are different scenarios of what a prehistoric pigeon could look like. So I was like, what if they were our ancestors? And that's what I came up with. So if we actually didn't evolve from monkeys, but pigeons, I think that's what that would be. And what's going on here in my scene is that my pigeon is actually experiencing the apocalypse when there's a popcorn meteor rain coming down. And yeah, so here we go.
Oh, that is so good. I'm glad I decided not to do funny because you've nailed it.
Thank you.
That is so I love your style. Raquel.
Okay.
Raquel.
So the dice got me next. So
Yes.
I went the kind of funny way.
Wow. Love it.
This is this is kind of a just to give you a context. This is in a prehistoric times after the dinosaurs. Birds and pigeons were the next big thing, literally the big thing. They were really large, really huge, and they were really intelligent. And by that time, birds and pigeons were carnivores, and they were really smart. And what they thought was it was a real hassle just to keep chasing after humans, to hunt them and cook them and eat them, because they ate humans. Yeah, that's
Yes.
how we began existence. And the Council of Cavemen and Prehistoric Pigeons decided that we should come up with a strategy to not work so hard. So they devised a plan to start, instead of hunting humans, breeding them, nurturing them, so humans would work for them and feed them. Because, they had discovered that corn was not so bad. So let's put humans growing the corn to feed the pigeons. So this is it.
That's
funny.
That's so good.
Sandrine says all the IQ of a pigeon in one facial expression. This is brilliant.
What worries me a little bit, is that actually looks a bit like me.
No, it doesn't.
If you stuck a beard on that.
I love the corn.
So that could be the next prompt. Tony Harmer as a caveman pigeon.
Oh, no
pigeon.
more Tony Harmer characters. I can't deal with it.
No, we'll move on. We'll move on to something different next time.
Fantastic.
I love it. That's amazing. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I suppose then it's my turn.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So I decided not to, despite when we had our initial meeting about this, coming up with all of these amusing ideas about cave paintings featuring gigantic pigeons and pigeons that were a bit more like a tyrannosaur and all of that stuff. I decided to actually do something kind of almost serious.
It's amazing.
So these are the sketches I've come up with so far. Do you want to see the thing from Fresco? I've got it just here.
Yes, please.
The sort of screen capture. So you'll see this is where I kind of stopped on Fresco at this particular point. But if I just play that, you should see how typically with me, I come up with a few cartoony ideas first, and this is what cute. I was doing there. So blending it a little bit with a triceratops.
Yes, it's adorable.
Yeah, and then a pterodactyl. And then I thought, I could do one. Then I jumped to the next stage completely prematurely and thought, I could do one that's bringing a caveman back to feed its young.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That was the idea. And then I thought, dial it back a little bit and actually, start actually drawing some stuff out. But you can
that's
see
great.
I did elaborate. So I did a very brief sketch of a pigeon as we would know them today, and then started working out all of these different things. Should the beak be longer? Should there be teeth inside of it?
Yeah,
and I figured it should be part lizard. So such as like Archaeopteryx, the thing that's often called the first bird, and you can see how I constructed the pigeon, and then gave it one of those bony sort of keratin structures on the forehead. But started to feel that I didn't discard it, but I started to feel that it looked a bit more like a chicken than that. But this was. And then that got a lot larger. Then it started to go a bit Avatar, and I thought, no. So I went back to thinking about, the beak structure. I think I did one more on top of that. You can see I was scribbling at this one for quite some time. And there's the construction again. I used basically a rectangle to pull that together. Started out a bit cartoony.
That's awesome.
But then I moved the keratin thing to the lower beak, because I thought it could be like a defensive weapon,
right. Oh, cool.
It's all about it's all about the storytelling, right? What makes the bits and bits that make your character come alive and feel like something real.
Yeah.
It's really the big eye also that sells it as a pigeon, right?
Yes, that and that small bulge on the forehead. That's the thing. But then I took it a stage further, and I thought, what if the beak was really, really pulled out? But I was still very, very sold on that idea of it having an armored structure along the top of its head that would defend its weak points. So, of course, the top of its head, but also the back of its neck. So if it was flying and that was down, so it had to be kind of aerodynamic, not like a triceratops, which I've actually got a kit of one over there. And this is the point where it got a bit crazy, and I thought, okay.
Look at that. That's amazing. Yes.
I thought, should it be like that? And then I thought, I'll stop for a bit and just go ahead but that's all the scribbling and all of the different bits to get to that stage just there. So
it's really cool to see it come alive, the whole process. Yeah.
So did that, and then came back into Photoshop and thought, I kept those things around so I could see them, but you can see here that I've developed that top sort of bone structure just there, and I think that looks fairly convincing. I think it could work. It's not dead sleek aerodynamic, but it would work as shielding. I went back a bit more towards a pigeon's actual beak, the one we recognized today, but then carried on with this lizard thing around about to this point here, and then followed along the lines of like Archaeopteryx, and that's where I got to. So there you go.
Awesome. Great stuff.
And
Love
now I've got
it.
tons of drawing to do in the next hour and 20 minutes. So I'm not happy with the ones yet, but yeah. There you go. So that's how we are. Alex in the chat is saying, is it the next characters for Godzilla 3?
Would it waddle like a pigeon? That's an interesting question.
And Emma's already fishing for the next cue for us. There we go. All right, I guess we'd better, all three of us,
get going, right?
Get going, yeah, absolutely.
So I'll be using Fresco on my iPad.
Yes.
And let's see.
That's cool. You can see all 3 screens at a time. That's awesome, Tim.
Yeah.
Maddie's come up with a funny in the chat. Tim uses soundproofing. Hang on a minute, it's just disappeared. Tim uses soundproofing to stop echoes, but pigeons don't because they are acoustics. Boom! I'm here all week now for bingo. Oh dear.
Okay, so
you two have done an excellent job, though. It's really, really good.
I was actually looking forward to this. I was sitting on my desk working. I was like, I wonder what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it was because we didn't discuss between us any kind of plan of if we were going in a more cartoony animated style or something hyper realistic or whatever. So it's because that was the plan, that was the point of the exercise to see what we would come up with. So
yeah, there was some talking though when we came up with the prompt. So
yeah,
we did.
And then you can't do that because we already talked about that. So that was off. Right.
I really hope this works because it's such. I mean, spending 90 minutes with you two doing this, brilliant.
Okay, so I'm going to start just blocking in some colors.
And
so that awkward moment of silence.
There will be all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to draw and talk at the same time.
It is.
That's because normally we work on our own, right? And we're just like, there's no one there to talk to.
Well, you listen to something else, right?
That's why I have puppets. That's why there's puppets.
I think you can already see the style's completely different, and I love that. I think also the way we're going to work is going to be completely different. I can see that Raquel's already putting in the color. I will not do that. I don't want to work in grayscale. So
yeah, but I'm not actually putting already the final colors. I'm not working in absolute grayscale as you are, Yulia, but I am just putting some base colors so I can start building from that, because I have an idea of the color palette that I want to use, especially, and the background is going to dominate that a little bit because I want it to have kind of like a deserty feel with lots of ochres and earthy tones, and so I'm putting in the shape of the pigeon, and I'm probably going to go with some bluish colors for the characters. So just blocking in some colors, working, and then we'll fine tune it. It's good to have the shapes, the main shapes blocked in, and then you can start adding detail and changing the colors if needed.
So did you actually start on paper or on your iPad?
I started on my iPad directly.
Oh, okay.
actually. Yeah, I can show you. I can go back a little bit and show you how it started, because you can't help start looking at reference from dinosaurs and prehistoric
Right.
birds, and yeah, so I started there, and then I started seeing some reference also from already stylized versions and films and cartoons. And what I did first was like these kind of sketches here, where I
Oh,
was
that's
trying
adorable.
to I was trying to find the right shape for the bird. And from the beginning, I had this feeling that he should be large and really big and bulky. I wasn't sure exactly the kind of proportions, but then this little guy here started seeming like he had the appropriate
Yes.
expression and proportions for what I was going for. The one in the bottom, it kind of looked like a chicken also, so I abandoned it really quickly. And then these are just some notes that I took about when I was thinking about the character in terms of the storytelling. While I was coming up with what kind of personality does he have. So he's of course big, he's large in scale, so he won't move super fast. He's not going to run super fast. He's really bulky and really strong, like a rock. And he does look like kind of a grunt with the single eyebrow thing,
Yes.
but he's not stupid. So the birds are smart.
He's evil though,
this
right?
time. So yeah, he's not overly aggressive. So it's I will
But
show
he's
you.
eating humans.
But it's not like kind of like a really mean bad caveman. So he eats humans for survival.
Right.
So it's not overly aggressive. And when I started detailing, I came up with this. And okay, I can show you a variation that I did on his expression. I have it somewhere here, I think. Let me just turn
Evie's
off.
come up with a great funny in the chat.
Yeah.
She said, "Is he a carnivore?"
Carnivore.
Yeah, he went from carnivore to carnivore.
Carnivore.
So
that's hilarious.
This was an alternate expression that I experimented with, and I do love it. I think it had potential if I worked on it a little bit to fine tune the proportions and the expression, it could work. But then it would make him look like a more of kind of a stupid pigeon that just goes groaning and grunting.
Eat humans.
Yeah, eat humans. And I wanted kind of like a more sneaky. So, eat humans or make humans work for me.
Sneaky pigeon.
I love that you're doing the voices as well now.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't get me started, because I love doing all these things, the voices and the acting.
I actually did. I did a voice acting. Well, I did more than one. I did a few voice acting courses. I actually met somebody from Portugal on one of those courses.
That's cool.
Really?
She had an incredible.
Cool.
Yeah, she worked as aircrew for BA as well. But she was breaking into voice acting. She was fantastic, and of course she's plus because she could bilingual, so she can do.
That's fun. Yeah, right.
Characters in both English and Portuguese.
Yeah, that's always a plus.
No, she was lovely. Every time, I think we did 2 courses together, and each day we had lunch together. So we got on really well. She was just lovely.
So did you always just talk in a different voice with each other, and you never really knew what the other person
Never knew
like?
who the other person was. Absolutely. That is the way it went.
That's my lunch voice.
Yes.
So we put ourselves in a really difficult position, because it's not only a bit hard to talk and draw at the same time, but now I'm also trying to sneak peek what you guys are doing. So I'm working a bit slower because I really want to see what you guys are doing. So
I'm trying to come up with a less uniform wing structure than the one I had. So I'm just working on the primary flight feathers right now, just to make them a little less regular. It kind of takes me back a bit, to right at the beginning of my career, because that's where I started. I worked for, once I'd stopped doing punk posters and had been to college and got an education, that's where I started. I worked for the as was then the Royal Society for Nature Conservation, which is now the Wildlife Trusts.
So cool.
And so I'd spend time drawing birds and other creatures, and then being told off for
that's so
not
fun.
making them anatomically correct. Even if they were a tiny. I remember doing a robin once that was a tiny silhouette in the back of a poster, and
it had to be accurate and real.
All I can remember is his name is Dr. Jeff, but I can't remember what his last name was. But he came in and gave me a really, really big telling off.
Dr. Jeff.
Dr. Jeff. Dr. Jeff. I took the mickey out of him quite a bit, actually. Because he was always, there were always days where he wasn't in, and in his calendar it just said, because this like an actual physical book then, so there was like a one in the office that said where everybody was, and his would have time off in lieu, right, in lieu of hours worked for like giving lectures and things like that. And when I left there to go to work at another project, I actually wrapped a toilet roll up with a fake book jacket that I made called Time Off in Lieu LOO instead of and left it for him.
That is funny.
Naughty Tony.
Did he know it was you?
I was the only designer in that project.
Okay.
So,
so they knew.
They knew, yeah. The other scientists thought it was quite funny.
But it's good that you have that experience in something more diverse, right?
It's a long time ago though now, Raquel, to be honest. It's, many, many moons.
Many moons ago.
Many, many moons. Yulia, you studied as an architect, didn't you, to start off with?
No, not architect. It's just the art of building, but not architecture. It's more engineering and all that stuff.
Apologies. Okay.
And I got a good grade because at my last exam that was, in front of my teachers, he said, I will let you pass if you promise me to never build a building anywhere. So no people will get hurt. And I said, I promise I'm going into the arts. And he's like, okay, get out of here.
That's encouraging.
Yeah. My subject was stairs, so you can imagine how interesting that is.
Stairs are complex structures.
They are, and it's really important how high they are, because if there's just a little bit off, you can kill people with that. We have something in our anatomy and in our daily moving around that we know how high a stair should be, and if that's off, you will notice.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yes.
I had that experience recently, actually. I don't remember exactly where, but it was in a public space here in the north of Portugal, where I thought, this is not natural for me. This is higher than it's supposed to.
Yeah.
I don't feel safe.
Yeah, I think higher is a problem, but even worse is lower, when you take a step and you step into nothing. That's really bad.
So there you have it, folks. The three Artketeers discuss
stairs. The danger of stairs.
You never know what you can expect.
We should podcast.
Yes.
Oh, that's an idea.
It is an idea. I'm so gutted that I won't be around for the Trojan Horse Was a Unicorn. I would so love to come there this year, but I'll try and engineer it.
Yeah.
Tim's put funny in the chat. Let's hope they don't escalate the situation.
What you did there.
Is stairs the same in Portuguese, escalador, as it is in?
In Portuguese, it's escada. Escada. Yes.
Yeah. Artketeers talking architecture.
Architecture.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. a good stare is important. Be grateful for a good stare.
Yes. Yes, yes. So over in the chat, I think also that some of the people in the chat, I think Emma mentioned this earlier on. If you fancy working on this prompt or either of the other prompts that were on the Discord, because there were 3. There was Prehistoric Pigeon, Bride of Frankenstein Squirrel, which I just couldn't stop but see a white shock up the tail of it.
I know, it's a great idea.
And Monster Bunny. And they were all from... It's that app you had, isn't it, Julia? The drawing prompts.
That is the drawing prompt from Steven Silver and his
okay.
business. Yeah.
Yeah. I've met Steven.
Yeah, and he created this cool app that you can download on the App Store. You can use it for free. You can also pay for it, then it unlocks more stuff. But it usually gives you an animal, a job description, and an outfit. And we came up with this prehistoric pigeon.
I've got one of his other apps. The
probably the one with the
faces.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I did a workshop with him in LA.
Cool.
4 years ago, I think. Because he's British originally.
Oh, really? I didn't know. That.
Yeah. He moved to LA when he was a kid.
Yeah, I love his stuff, and his book is also really good. If you were into character design, his character design painting book is really a great resource.
The Silver Way, isn't it?
The Silver Way, yes.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, me too.
Of course I do, right?
Somewhere there in your huge library.
Yeah.
I don't have that one in particular, so I'm taking notes.
It's very good. It is very good.
Yeah.
Julia, do you remember when we were at Vertex, that conference? Do you remember me drawing that Einstein on the
on the board?
On the wall? That was a Steven Silver project.
Oh, cool.
And it was based on creating a character out of a piece of toast, some spaghetti, and an aubergine or an eggplant, if you will.
Yeah, he gets you these cool prompts that give you some creative, ramp to work from.
But I did it, and I kept iterating on it, and eventually I came up with one that I really liked.
Awesome.
I drew with him. I drew Einstein, Edgar Allan Poe.
Wow, great characters to draw.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. I'm sure there was another one.
You can also use vegetables to go from there.
Yeah. There's
so if you have a funny potato with really a lot of curves, you can actually draw all 3 characters in one vegetable.
A funny potato. This is funny potatoes have actually been on the news in this country recently because of the drought. Yeah, because of the drought. So a thing in supermarkets, which I found quite distasteful anyway, was to not put produce out for sale that didn't look like
super
that
fancy
produce. So so you had to have a really sort of super handsome banana or whatever, and I found that kind of distasteful, really. But the no pun intended, because it's food. But because there's going to be a shortage of things like that, shoppers are going to have to, put up with less aesthetically gorgeous.
Well, it doesn't mean that they're not tasty.
Well, exactly, and also it's food, which is a gift, right? For anybody, And
you're going to cut it up anyway, and you're.
There you are. See, you should be doing a public information film, Yulia. This is what I'm suggesting right now.
This is a banana. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Cut it up and eat it.
Eat it, yeah.
Make it into a fruit salad.
Oh man, I can remember a certain little person in my family getting really funny about biscuits at one point. I don't want that. It's broken. And
oh no.
Yeah. No, I don't want it. It's broken.
It's a broken biscuit.
Yeah. I was going to say, okay, all right. So it's broken. Fine. What do you think it's going to look like after 2 seconds in your mouth?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it was just a realization on their face that it was just like, actually,
right.
And they were, I don't know, about 5 or something at the time. It was just a realization that actually that's a really good argument.
Yeah.
That's so the argument worked.
Yeah.
That's really funny because
I mean, the privilege we have from being able to say, I don't want that one. It's just, terrible.
Yeah. And I've started noticing something here in Portugal because our oranges and mandarins and such fruits, the best ones come from the south of Portugal, from the Algarve. And they're actually so good that the best looking ones are usually used for exports. And so in our supermarkets, we end up with the ugly ones. Not all of them, but mostly ugly ones. And that's when we know that we're going to get the real tasty fruit that's really, really delicious. Because, so this is the ugly one. So it's from the South Portugal, from the real Algarve citrines. So it doesn't matter what it looks. It tastes better than the ones that we receive from imports from halfway around the world, having been in freezers long. So
crazy, isn't it?
Ugly fruit can taste just as good.
Yes.
It can also be the other way around. You can have a really pretty fruit and it tastes like crap.
Rubber.
Yeah. True.
We have one fruit stand down the street. We never go there because all the fruit is it looks beautiful. It's big, polished apples. You bite into it and it tastes like a sausage, and it's so weird.
An apple that tastes like a sausage.
Yeah, it has a strange texture.
Oof.
It's like, this shouldn't be an apple.
Oliver was saying that you have to eat all the broken biscuits as soon as you open a packet. It's the law.
Ha! There you go.
Yeah.
I kind of
Maddie has to stay away from a packet of biscuits. She can't just eat one.
That's also the law.
For anyone joining us now, we are chatting about apples that taste like sausages.
And
man, I feel slightly dizzy.
I think I'm trying to peek on the chat. I'm not sure, but I think someone is asking what kind of brushes are being used.
Oh yes, someone did ask that. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah, and I can start answering that one. I'm using Fresco, as you know, and as anyone who might have watched my previous live streams here with Adobe, they might know that I'm a Kyle Webster brushes fan, and I use mostly Kyle's brushes. And what I've done in Fresco is I downloaded a few of the collections from the Creative Cloud, and I added some favorites, the ones that I use the most. And right now, what I'm using, I'm doing something that I didn't do before in my demos, which is having some line work. I'm not going to do such a painterly style with such rough brushwork. So I'm using some line work with the Concept pencil, the soft one. And because I like this gritty textured look, that it's not a really clean line. I'm not a big fan of super steady and clean lines. And for color, when I'm blocking in shapes and painting, I usually like the Kyle's gouache brushes, like the Glazer's Edge and the Gouache Go-Go. Mostly those ones. And then there are some textured brushes which I will be using also in further down the line, like this Brushworks, and there's got to be this Pigmentia, which is a really fun.
It's a really nice name.
Yeah, and I have to say it's wonderful how he comes up with these nice names, and his imagination.
Oh, he's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah, it doesn't run out. of good ideas for new names of brushes.
I keep rereading Tim's Pom surprise and now started crying laughing too. So, I missed that one. Kirsty loves those brushes. Evie's taking a photo. Tim's just bingoed Maddie Moss. We've been playing Maddie Moss bingo all week. I was waiting for mascara the other day. I thought, say mascara. Sarah follows Carl Webster on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
His brush streams are just cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been having a couple of things with his stream at the minute, which I really feel for him for.
Yeah. It's always bad when the hardware doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And I know all his streams are so well prepared, so it's always,
Yep. Sandrine is using Hunky Dory from the Bowie set.
Yeah. But are you guys doing the draw along with joined with us?
Hope so.
I hope so.
Live.
If you are, make sure you put it in the Discord.
Yeah, because we definitely want to see
Absolutely
what you were doing. But
yes, we do.
Circling back a little bit to what Tony was talking about, shame that he can come to Trojan Horse was a unicorn.
Yeah.
Julia, you're going to be there this year, right?
I'm going to be there with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Russell and I are going together. Second time now.
Yeah, perfect. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times that's where we met,
Yes.
Julia and
Yes.
I. So that was the beginning of this beautiful friendship right
It
here.
was the oasis. Where I sat down on a table, I'm like, hey guys, can I sit with you? And everybody's like, sure. And I turned around and that was Raquel. And I'm like, who are you? I'm an illustrator. And I said, can I see your work? And she said, of course. And I said, can you come to Adobe Live? And she said, yes.
Yes.
That's the
So
story.
that was it. It was like 3 minutes and we nailed it. So Tony, be sure to organize your schedule next year so you can plan for it, because you'd love it there and people would love to have you there.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely sure.
Definitely like to.
And there's a great lineup this year of new speakers.
Exactly.
I can't remember what it is. It conflicts with me. And Russell saying I was a witness to that.
Yes.
Which he was. I can't remember what the conflict is, why I can't get there this year, but I've got a pretty full calendar just at the minute. I'm speaking at Stanford Medical.
Well, that's a good reason, yeah.
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 Which was a nuts thing to be asked. I'm very pleased. I can say that now because they started putting it out on their social.
It's official now.
It's official now.
Nice. So I actually have a real pigeon story to share with you guys.
No way. Go on.
Because, when you have a prompt and you're working on a project, you kind of become aware of all these things around you, right? Suddenly they're everywhere. So Russell and I, we've been on a bike trip and we stopped at this beautiful little stream, sat down and we started feeding the fish. And it was like, in the Discovery Channel, just a beautiful scene. It was quiet and nature all around you, and the fish were eating our toast, and suddenly this pigeon landed a couple of feet away from us, and I was like, what's the pigeon doing here? And I was like, it probably saw that we have toast, so
it's trying to steal your food.
Maybe it wants some toast. So I threw a piece over to it and it just looked at me like, I don't need your food. So it took off. It started flying over the stream, dove into the water, grabbed the fish, pooped itself in the water, flew out, wonky as pigeons can fly, landed on a branch, all wonky, lost the fish. And Russell and I were sitting there and what just happened? Did that pigeon really just catch a fish? And we were sitting there and that, pigeon poop was slowly flowing down the stream. by us. Like, did that really just happen? So a short time later, the pigeon was kind of getting lower into the branch and starting to look at the water again with just one eye to see if there's more fish. And it started again. It dove down into the water. It grabbed the fish again, but at the same time, a huge hawk came out of the bushes and was trying to, catch the pigeon. And the pigeon was so scared, it dropped the fish again, landed in the water, pooped in the water again, and made its way over to the other side. And it was like this was I had the voice of who's the American actor who's always doing these animal series. I had his voice in my head, like the pigeon just was trying to get the fish, but this huge hawk. And it was the most amazing scene. I couldn't believe that I saw that day. It was fantastic.
That almost seems like it's too complex to be a true story, right?
Quite the busy story, isn't it?
And I'm so glad that Russell was there, because nobody would believe me, but it really happened.
People will think that you were a really talented script writer.
Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
That's Russell. That's chipping in and helping out there.
Thank you, Russell.
Stories from the Riverbank. Tales from the Riverbank, says Stuart Fickling. That used to be a show, you guys, in the UK many years ago. It was it was about a bunch. It was just a bunch of animals doing animal stuff, and a hamster that was in a radio-controlled boat.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a hammy hamster, which doomed everybody at the time who had the surname Hammond to being referred to as a hamster.
Well, I didn't know that pigeons could fish.
Nor did I. This is news to me.
And it kind of also didn't, because it wasn't very successful, but it tried. So I think at the end of the day, it was like, I should have taken that toast.
Yeah. It was kind of an ungrateful pigeon, and the universe
I respect it for trying.
Punished him.
Yeah.
So we're just coming up to about halfway through. Not that it's a race or a contest or any of those things.
We made that really clear.
We did make that really clear. We did.
Yeah, that's
right
the
now,
thing.
though, I'm thinking should have done cartoon, actually, because I'd have a fair chance of finishing this week. Oh, dear.
Yeah, I know, but 90 minutes is really not that lot of time. And so we should actually get a whole day of drawing together.
We could. That would be an epic stream. I don't think Tim would be quite as relaxed about it as we are, though. Tim right now is probably sweating. It's like, no, not a whole day. No, thank you. Emma is saying that she might see if she can put aside some budget for Adobe Live on Safari. That would be cool.
Oh,
we could
cool.
go to a zoo. We could go to a zoo together and draw the animals. I would like that.
Count me in.
So Aaron Blaze, who is someone else I know.
You know him personally?
Yeah, we've met on a few occasions.
Cool.
I showed him. I think I first met him 2014, I think, and I showed him something called the Sencel, which was another form of drawing tablet. Which I have one still.
I have it right here. I'm using it.
You've got a Sencel.
I love it. Yes.
So that they did do in 2014. They did an experimental module for the Sencel where you could use traditional paintbrushes on top of it, and they would map to Photoshop.
That would be fun.
But
I could use a pigeon feather.
You could. But I showed him that because he wanted to know if I was working on it, and I said no, this isn't something I'm working on. But he's a very nice guy, Aaron.
Yeah.
I mean, my mate Dave Clayton is like super buddies with him. They hang out. Nice. Adobe Live has the new David Attenboroughs. 3 wild Artketeers. Yeah, that would be fun. Cool.
Yeah, this is a lot
Vision
of fun.
is here. It's nice and busy in the chat, actually.
Cool.
Yeah, it is.
I hope you're drawing prehistoric pigeons.
Yes, like what we are. There we go. I'm doing something I don't normally do here, which is making edits as I do the line work. I did jump out into the other thing to do these feathers, but now I'm making some decisions further down the line, which is not my normal. But that's the great thing with digital, right? Is that you can do.
The process becomes a bit more. Well, it's easier to keep going back and forth with changes. It's not easier. It's not better. It's just a kind of versatile in that way that you can keep making changes as you work.
There's something missing. It's right hand. Be a good idea to add one, really. And I think I actually need to go and just delineate that better on the sketch. That's odd. It is delineated perfectly well. Oh, I know why.
Ivy says, sorry, I really don't know about grayscale. How does it turn into color? So I'm actually at a point where I can show you that because...
Oh, you're doing your value work now? Oh, yeah.
So this is what my sketch looked like in the beginning right here. I only had like really solid shapes. There was no shading in there. So I have a group here with layers and the group has, as you can see, the mask of the whole pigeon around it. And when I turn it on, you see those are all the shadow layers. So I have, you see like big form shadows right here. Then I have a little bit more of cast shadows, like from his, skirt and his body blocking in certain shadows. And then I have one for a little bit of ambient occlusion. So that's where really folds come together. So you can actually see where the light really doesn't go in. It gets a little bit darker. And then this group is all set on multiply. So I was just drawing in these 3 grayscale values in there to make some shadows. And this on top here is, you can turn that off. You can see this is just the light. So in this group are 3 layers that are highlights and reflections. So this layer is set to screen. And the next to go from here is I would bring in a fill layer with a certain color and put that to color. So what that color blend mode does is it respects all the values that you already put in place and only uses the hue of that layer to color it. So I can actually go in here and change, and I like to go to the lab for that, is find a different color for my pigeon. So you can see the the grayscale, the light and the shadows, they stay in place, but I can change the color and really just play with different designs.
Yeah.
And when I have one in place, I just go from there and draw on top, so I don't have to go back. And you can do that with, you know, with everything, actually. You can, for example, leave that layer here and then, you know, block out, for example, the skirt. When you say you want another color for that skirt or for his spear, just, you know, block that out. Or if you want certain shapes not to have that color, or his beak and his eyes, you know, there are certain areas where you don't want that color, so you can drop that out. But I like having it as this fill layer because I can always come back here and just change it, just pick a different color instead of, you know, having a pixel layer and, you know, filling it with the font color or something like that. It's just really handy and quick. So if you want to do that, you just go down here and say solid color, you get a new layer of that. And then again, you can color pick and come up maybe with a yellow, put that on color, and do the same thing. For example, you can already, you know, change the masking to black, so everything is masked right now, and then you can paint in where you want the color. So that's a really easy way to go from grayscale back to color. So I hope that answers your question, Ivy.
That was super comprehensive. Yeah, very thorough.
Hope so.
Very
good.
And like you guys know, there is no right way. There are many ways, and they all are supposed to be supportive, you know, to express yourself.
Good. Speedy Gonzalez Costa there with her. Today I'm drawing at Warp 8.
I wish I was a true Speedy Gonzalez. I'm trying to pick up the pace so I can at least have the main atmosphere laid down.
But no, it's a good idea to work without the distraction of color, because, you know, it's so easy to mess up, you know, with
well, it's I wouldn't call it cheating, but it's easier for your brain to comprehend it if you are starting out. Color is so complex, and I think if you want to really get into color, it would be good to actually do it with pigments and not digital, because it's so much easier to start to understand it. And when you have that, you can go back to digital and really do mixing it from zero. Right, but with this, you just turn off the colors and you can still see the shape and the 3D, you know, the form of it.
Yep.
And then you can just paint in whatever color you want, and it respects those shapes. So you don't have to. I don't have to come in here and think, what is the purple if it was in the dark? What is the blue if it was under yellow light?
Exactly.
The software kind of does it for you, so that might be easier and faster, maybe too.
I'm going to try, so I'm just going to add a layer underneath my draw layer here. So to do that, I'm just going to hold down the Command key while I click on the new layer icon, because that drops a layer in underneath. And I'm just going to make a couple of changes here. Interesting, what I'm seeing on the screen isn't a refreshed version of what I'm doing right now. Curiouser and curiouser. And I'm going to just use, I'm basically going to paint this in a flat grey, which I know I've already got in between. So I'm going to go to pretty much 50%. There we go, 50% brightness. And I'm just going to find a brush. I'm not going to use the blocker that I would use ordinarily at this point. I think I'm just going to use one of the default brushes here. And just brush this in, because when I've done, let me turn that background layer off. When I've done, I think what I'm going to do is use a dodge and burn layer to see what you make of that particular technique. Have you ever used that technique before, Julia?
Dodge and burn?
Yeah, so you basically create a mid value, or Raquel, either of you. You basically create a mid-grey color over your artwork, and then you add a neutral
Yes.
density layer over the top, and then use dodge and burn
Yeah.
To highlight or darken
bring
it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I think
smart.
I'm going to do it anyway and show it, because that way, if you haven't seen it before, then it's another option.
I don't normally use it in my process, but I have done it and I have experimented with it.
Tim's warning me my screen is not updating, so let me just go and see what's going on with that. So you can cycle across to Raquel or Julia. Let's find out what's going on just there. There we go. Okay. Good. Thanks, Tim. Tim in my ear.
Always helpful.
Everybody needs a Tim in his ear.
Always helpful, always lovely. You haven't been over here for a while, Julia.
That is correct. COVID and, you know.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
It gets us all.
Yes.
So now I'm doing what I was talking about in the beginning of the stream, where we were just comparing our processes, and the fact that I usually paint with color, and it has a kind of a painterly approach to it. Means that I blocked in some colors for the pigeon, but as I said, I had a clearer idea of what I wanted the atmosphere to be. So that's why I decided to switch to the background to lay in just some basic colors, basic shapes, to have a feel of the landscape and the time of day. And then I will start adjusting the pigeon accordingly. Because I think it's important for me to establish the mood.
Let's have a look and see what's going on. I wish I had a Tim in my ear to tell me when I'm doing stuff wrong. Tim in my ear. Magic Tim.
Don't forget to save.
Oh man, Annika Argwal pops onto my own stream, and that's the first thing she says is save.
Save it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that right now.
Not that I've got a reputation for not saving or anything like that. I've just decided to switch to a different method. I have no idea why I was outlining all of that stuff. So I'm just basically using the lasso.
You know, that's actually one of the good things of using Fresco on the iPad, is because I don't have to think about saving.
True.
It's doing it for me. It's kind of like pigeons having humans work for them. So it's really cool to not have to think about it, because it's such an important thing in our process, right?
Yes.
To preserve not just the artwork itself, but the fact that we've been spending time doing something, and you want to make sure that that time counted for something, right?
Yeah, it's at the risk of sounding like a 1970s British geometry teacher. It's your own time you're wasting.
Yeah.
if it goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And
we haven't seen Russell over here for a long time either. I miss the Adobe cats. He probably doesn't even remember that.
Oh, yes, he does.
Does he?
Yes, he does. He sent me a picture of the Adobe cats, a photograph.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Nice little Russell-oriented little club. Just nice to get together. Russell's at the pub now. Where are you guys?
Yeah, who was in the picture, Russell? It was you, Tony, and
Steve. So there'll be me, myself, Russell, Steve.
Steve who?
Do you know? Steve. Wow. The rain outside is. I'm diverting away from not being able to remember Steve's name, but the rain outside is torrential. Do you know? I can't remember his name. Oh my word, Steve. Steve. Oh, he's giving me clues. Steve. Steve. Steve McSteve face. Oh, help me out, Russell. He's a LinkedIn Learning author as well, so it's just
Steve McSteve face.
Steve McSteve face, yeah. By any other name. Kaplan.
Steve Kaplan.
Oh, he's just put it in the chat anyway. Yeah. Last time I saw him, he was walking with sticks because he'd had a little accident. Where he was walking through, I think, London, and he was looking at his phone, and you say about stairs, he walked off a rather high curb and landed on his knees.
Oh no. Oh, that hurts.
There you go. The reason about the importance of stairs.
Yes.
And
now we went full circle.
Yeah, now we can rest assured that we did our job well here.
On Adobe Live's safety division.
Exactly.
Yeah, falling on your knees. Oh no.
It's I used to like doing the journalist events. Steve would always be there because he used to write for the computer press. By that, it's because I can't remember which magazines he wrote for, but so he used to come along, and his job was to give us very difficult questions. I always liked his questions, especially if I had a witty snapback answer for him, but which wasn't the case all the time. I am still drawing in grayscale. You lot are colouring up.
Yeah, I lit my pigeon on fire here.
Yeah. Evie's saying wear knee pads at all times. And the groom is standing at the altar in his customary morning suit and knee pads.
He's safe.
He's safe. Should the steps in the establishment in which they're getting married not be of an appropriate height or pitch if the risers are of an incorrect depth. He'll be safe. Emma's saying bubble wrap, lots of layers.
Oh yeah, that's fun too.
Absolutely. When I first read lots of layers, I thought she was talking about Photoshop. Remember being in a group with some people and suggesting that at some point in the evolution of humans, we'll develop another eye in the middle of our foreheads so we can check our phone as we're walking along.
That would be creepy.
And I also thought of something last night that I was amazed at myself for not having thought of before. Is that I could have called myself the iTone. I could be the iTone Pro Max.
iTone.
Especially seeing as I'm now the ringtone for some of our Adobe Live colleagues.
Yeah, Tony made a ringtone this morning.
Ah.
He sent the voicemail into this Adobe team Slack. And everybody's like, can I use that as a ringtone? And then he made one for the French people, especially just for the French. Hey, I need a German one too.
Okay, it'll be done. As soon as we're done here, I'll get onto it.
And I am curious what it sounds like. Can't help it.
It's just me going, good morning. Or bonjour. Bonjour. There you go. So that's Tim. You've got a call coming in. Not creepy at all, says Emma. Tony and I practiced our voice range yesterday. We did, Emma. We had a lovely chat. We did. Of which Tim will find out more about later on today. With our bonkers plans for Adobe Live stuff.
Nice.
Man, time's flying by. That's insane.
I know. It is.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, so far today, I've drawn a very large grey thing. But I'm hell-bent on using this particular technique now to do some value stuff. I'll tell you who hasn't been on the, or I don't think has been, and I don't know if you know this person, Raquel, Sarah Lisa Hleb. Do you know?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The name didn't sound familiar, but I do have bad memory.
Me too. And we were talking about you last week, actually, on last Wednesday, myself and David Cousins, UK comic book artist.
Yeah. I watched his stream.
Oh, did you?
Recently? Yeah. Really interesting. I love comics, as you know, so I'm usually interested in hearing what other creatives have to say about it.
He's such a sweetie, David. He really is.
Okay, so let's move on to the bird. Okay.
I wish I was going to have a bit of a Mr. Miyagi moment where all of a sudden you think, the old guy's going slow, and then it's just poof, and there it is, fully rendered. That isn't going to happen, by the way, but I'm just saying. unless the universe feels particularly kind, in which case, go ahead.
Well, your sketches were already pretty amazing.
Thank you. That means a lot, coming from you.
Oh.
Your stuff is fantastic.
I really like the ones with where he was flying into the nest, with the little pigeons.
That one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I kind of. I did think the thing is, I thought about doing that. Maybe I should have done it as a cartoon, because then I could have done it and rendered it. That would have been. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it, Julia, at some point. That was when it also looked a lot more like a pterosaur than a pigeon. God bless Reset View. Right. Yes. So I can show this technique thing now. Oh, that looks so good. So good.
Okay.
They both do. Nice. In my own here, I'm going to add a new layer. So just new layer. And then I'm going to actually use the new layer options on mine. And I normally call this D and B for dodge and burn.
I like that.
I changed the blend mode to overlay and then choose this option, fill with overlay neutral color. So 50% gray. Like that. Okay, so that layer's in there on top of my already gray layer here. But I then tap O on my keyboard. Oh, I need to just load that as a selection first of all. That was kind of the purpose of it. There we go. So I've just loaded the selection of the layer underneath. I've switched to my dodge and burn tool. And then just start working in there like so. You see that? Maybe slightly smaller brush would be a bit nicer, but and then very quickly establish.
Angus says, Dodge and burn, name of the Adobe Live bar. Tim says he's only using the neural filters to colorize an image.
There you go. So there was I saw a thing actually earlier on this week on Instagram talking about neural filters, and that stuff. And I don't know about you, but I get asked the question a lot at the moment about, what do you think about neural filters? Do you think that, is there any point in being an artist anymore? And, and I just think, well, the camera didn't change anything for artists. Also, they're, I think the whole AI, sorry, I said neural filters. I meant AI drawing, of course. That's great if you put in a series of words like, I don't know, pterodactyl, pigeon, Jurassic, flying. Yeah, it'll come up with something or another. But that's not how art directors and clients generally talk to you, is it? Well, they don't talk to me that way. They don't, come up and say, yeah, hi Tone, I'd like a pterodactyl, but sort of a pigeon. Flying, no. They just say, would you interpret this particular idea? What say you, Julia and Raquel?
I think that it's going to be, of course, a game changer, and it will change things for us artists and illustrators. It doesn't have to be all bad, because I agree with Tony that I think that the last thing that AIs will be able to exactly mimic from us, it's the management part and the creative part. They can execute a perfectly beautiful image after having learned from millions of other finished images, but the part of the creative thinking and the project management, and the more complex our work is, the harder it will be for the AI to replace us. So I think it will change things for us. It might change the nature of the availability of the work that we have. But for example, as a tool, it might be cool to speed up the idea process. For example, you want to draw the caveman pigeon in a popcorn apocalypse, and you put in the prompt, and you might get 5 or 6 composition ideas that you might have not thought of. At least you wouldn't have thought of them without spending some time sketching them all out and fine-tuning them. So it might be an interesting tool to incorporate in the ideation process, so you can fast track something, especially if you're on a deadline. So,
yes.
But it's not all bad. It's not the apocalypse.
No.
The machines are not coming to destroy us all and take all our jobs, but
this week.
Yeah, not this week, but but it is important to stay vigilant and be part of these conversations, so we'll not be caught off guard when things definitely start to change, because they are changing already. So that's my 2 cents.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an amazing tool for artists as well. I played with Midjourney a bit, and it's not just that you're feeding an AI, it's almost like playing with it back and forth. So you have an idea, and it gives you an idea, and you get another idea, and it actually also is changing your brain and the way you see the world. It's like it's like creative tennis or ping pong, you know. And for myself, I'm not scared of it, because it doesn't take away what I do, because I'm not doing it for clients. I'm doing it for myself. So the AI is not taking that away from me at all. So
exactly, that's the point. But it will change for people working for clients, because
like you said,
there was already a case, if I'm not mistaken, in the Atlantic magazine, where an image generated by AI was used in an article. So no illustrator was paid to do that job.
Oh wow! So, okay.
I'm not 100% sure. I think it was the Atlantic, but I can check on that later.
It also won an art contest somewhere, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Russell sent me an article about this art contest, and then an AI won. I mean, a person gave him the prompt, and he said it took him like 80 hours to work on it, but at the end it was the AI who did it. And so now there's the debate: is that art or not? And I'm pretty sure it is. So
I just put caveman pigeon popcorn apocalypse into an AI app.
What did you get?
Well, I got 2 things, but I'm going to show you one of them, as horrific as it is. Hang on a second. Let me just
wow. I love it. That's funny.
Wow.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it could be a starting point, or maybe not.
Yes, I think so.
You know, one other thing that I've came across in another discussion about the use of AI generated images is that if it becomes more frequent that you'll see some art directors in magazines and whatnot use AI generated images in their publications and such, because it's cheaper and much less time consuming. So and you don't have to go through such a long process of creating the ideal image. There was this artist that was arguing that what it might do is somewhat lower the especially the public standards of what is good enough.
Yeah.
Because it might be not as good as a piece that an artist would have created, but it came out faster and a lot cheaper. So for the commissioner, it might the people that they're commissioning the work, it might feel like it's not perfect, but it's good enough. And so, what do you guys think about it?
I think that there's something in that that's pretty much like we were with the beginning of photography on phones. You know, we lowered our expectations of what we got from an image, you know, because of what we were seeing that was at the capability of the device at that time.
Yeah.
So, you know, so there is something to that.
But at the same time, it didn't stop photographers from still doing artistic work and quality work and still getting paid, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it won't do it. We are very, very complex creatures, and that's the thing of human creativity, right? Is that we're capable of synthesizing all of these different things together in ways that, you know, prehistoric pigeon.
Yeah,
it's a starting point.
Well, and the prompt came from a machine too, remember?
This is true. Oh man, we're being manipulated. Oh no, now we're slaves.
They're already taking over and we haven't even realized it yet.
Oh man, I wish I had a mummy. Mama.
Oh, now you got me, because I thought you were referring to the Monster Bunny prompt. You had a mummy.
No, it's the machines. They've caught us. Now we'll have to do their bidding. Oh no.
Yeah, that's funny.
Painting on the wrong
Can
layer.
you see my screen, Yulia, right now?
Yes.
To see my so that's how I'm working out my.
That's beautiful. I love it.
To do that,
Wow.
and all I'm doing is using the burn tool and then holding down the option tool to toggle over to the dodge tool.
That's very cool.
And just
That's a nice
changing those.
workflow.
It doesn't work for everything, but you know, I think it'll.
Right.
And then as you know, because it's dodge and burn, it's just nice and soft brush, low amount of exposure.
You know, that's one of the things that I remember when I started watching the Adobe live streams and the sessions that Tony was doing. What I feel like I experienced that I was always learning something new about ways in which to improve workflow with tools and keyboard shortcuts and everything. So it's a really privilege that we get to learn from someone as experienced and skillful as Tony. So
Well, I learned tons from you two. Tons.
Well, it's why we're here, right?
So you just learned from me that pigeons do fish. So
it's true.
Yeah.
I think we should reinstate Art Club fully, and that Raquel should come along too.
Yes, please.
That's what I think.
I'm on board with whatever you guys want to do. It's I love a good challenge.
We used to meet at one point every day.
talking about art.
Talk about art.
We would sit
Show
together in
stuff.
front of our screens and we would smell our comic books. Remember?
Yeah.
I can totally relate to that.
Right?
So
I mean,
We did.
how does your comic book smell?
Smell
It's
like-
just, I
I
love
know.
it. It's great.
Oh man. I was looking at my Moebius book the other day.
I love that
when
one.
we were in Brule.
Yeah, you know, we should also go to exhibitions more now that COVID's kind of.
Yeah.
I hope we're over it.
Because that was
Everybody's hoping
just
that.
before, right? Because that,
Yeah,
that
and then
actually
we
brought
stopped
that
doing it,
exhibition to
yeah.
an end prematurely.
Oops.
Yeah. Alan was thinking yesterday, I don't use dodge and burn, must give it a go. It's just one technique you can try. It's a good idea to have. Are you using one layer for dodge and burn? Yes. Yes, Alan is the yes. But no, I think we'll do that, you two. I mean, Raquel, how's your workload at the moment, Raquel? You're still working furiously on that book.
I am. I will be working furiously, at least until the end of next week. And then it's the Trojan horse was a unicorn soon after that. So
Yeah.
and soon after that, my classes will start again.
Oh gosh, yeah, of course.
Here, yeah. But you know, I will find time for the art club if it comes along, because I think it's important.
It might actually help you. Yeah.
It's helpful. It's part of the work, right? To keep your mind fresh and open to new things, and exactly. So I think there might have been a point when I was younger, in the beginning of my career, where I didn't value that as much, and I thought that being productive was sitting down at my desk working all the time.
Oh, I thought that too at some point.
And it was a long and hard road to realizing that if you have 5 hours to do something, and you can spend half of that time thinking about ways in which to do it better, and
that's so
studying
true.
and learning and thinking about it, it will save so much trouble and so much time in the end. And I didn't value that in the beginning, but I do now. So
yeah, absolutely. Evie was up. We've only got, by the way, can you believe it? We've only got about 3 minutes left.
Okay.
So I've not gone that much further forward from where I started. I've produced a beautifully monochrome.
Well, but
thing.
it is beautiful as a monochrome.
Thank you. Evie was asking a serious question: how does digital only artists get artwork into exhibitions? Well, there's plenty that do it. It's, I guess, an agent would be the one of the things.
Probably.
Julia, any ideas? Raquel, any ideas?
It's also an agent. I expect it's helpful. In my case, I haven't worked with an agent for that, but it all comes down to that kind of work of self-promotion that you do by doing the work first. You have to have that will to have an artistic practice, even if you're not having exhibitions. So do the work first and have your artistic voice. And then you have to make yourself known, and you have to be at the galleries and at the places where people are putting up exhibitions, and you have to talk to them, and you have to exchange ideas, and you have to create the context to introduce yourself as an artist and as something, though, oh yeah, I would like to exhibit here. And I've done that work in the past, going up to galleries and asking, so what are your requirements if I would exhibit here, if I would like to exhibit here? Do you have kind of like a board of people that approves the project? Does it have to be a finalized project? Can it just be an idea? So I don't think there's just one way to go about it, but it's just a few thoughts to start from.
Yes.
I agree. I think
Good
going
thoughts.
out and talking and getting to people to know, I think is more important than sending out a letter or a portfolio. I think it's all about human connection, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might not be a good, might be bad news for artists because we all tend to be introverts, but I think it's always good to go out and meet other people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that I learned and that I had to change about the way that I saw myself as an artist and as a professional, was that I always saw myself as really shy and an introvert, and I didn't want to have myself in the public eye, and well, it's not too bad. It is what it is. So I love doing these sessions at Adobe Live, for example. I feel like I learn a lot, and I'm super happy to share whatever I might know, my knowledge and my skills, and I think it's a really good back and forth. So. And it was hard for me. So it's always hard. I always get really anxious and nervous before doing these sessions. I always get a bit anxious and nervous when I'm teaching classes. But from experience, you start learning to be okay with it and knowing that so I'm just anxious because I haven't started yet. But then I will get in the flow and I know what I'm doing. I've thought about it, and then the pieces will just fall where they should. So being a more public person and getting out there and meeting people and talking to them, it might be hard if you see yourself as a shy person, but as with anything else, it's practice mostly.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
there you have it.
I actually just hosted the German Adobe live stream before this session, and then we had a guest who joined us from the metaverse. She was there as a VR character. And we talked about how enabling this is for disabled people who cannot walk. She's in Prague at a fashion show, and it's a real fashion show in Prague, but it's also a virtual fashion show where people from all over the world can submit their artwork and their costumes. So she talked about how important it is to have a space where everybody can be themselves and express themselves.
Yeah.
And there are people walking the runway who actually sit in a wheelchair. So maybe that is something that in the future we can explore more.
Yeah, I mean, we do have quite a few people in our audience who are in wheelchairs. We do have that here on Adobe Live. But anyway, we are unfortunately pretty much at time. I'll tell you what, I've just got to do one thing right before we wrap up, and that's actually just to put some feather marks on here, right, just so I feel like I've done something other than a value map. It's still in progress. Anyway,
it's so
obrigada, Raquel, says Evie.
Thank you.
There you go. Danke, Julia.
Bitte.
Everybody seems to have really enjoyed this. Sarah saying I struggle with realizing productivity is not just me work. Slow and steady saved the day.
I want to point out that we did the stream calling it the Free Artketeers because we knew that it's going to be completely different. We painted the same prompt, and I'm just amazed by how cool that all came out. And Raquel, I love yours. It looks like a scene from the old Flintstone cartoons. Even the colors.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, I had that feeling from the beginning that I could go in a cartoony Flintstone mood.
It's so cool.
He has that little caveman dress, and I really love yours as well. I think that the way you lit up those colors after putting in the values so beautifully, it works so really well.
Lovely.
And I'm going to watch the stream all over again so I can pay closer attention to what you guys were doing, because I only saw it, your screens as really, really tiny rectangles. So,
right, I know.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah, and
really
of course,
fun.
Julia, it was Julia's idea that because there was a Walt Disney thing where Walt Disney sent three artists. I don't think he sent them personally, but three Walt Disney artists
More than free, actually.
went out.
We're free.
Yeah, a long time, and they went out to draw a
it
tree.
was 4 artists, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, was it 4?
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, all went out, and yeah, and their approach was different to each thing, all drawing exactly the same thing, completely different styles. My apologies. Right, it was 4. Yes. Evie's saying she's disabled and housebound, so using the internet is her outlet.
Yeah, so cool.
So much chat. Russell saying great stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Russell.
Yes, they've loved it. So there we are, people. That's it. The
That was
first
great
outing of the 3 Artketeers.
Yes.
It was amazing. Really, really amazing.
We did
Lots
it.
of fun. We
Yes.
did. High five,
That
all
was
of
cool.
you.
Yeah.
High five.
Yeah, high five.
And hopefully the first of many. That would be a really cool
Yeah.
thing.
I hope so.
to
Yeah.
have.
I
Yes.
hope
Started.
so as well. Yeah, I would be on board with that.
Excellent.
Let's hope.
Okay, everyone. Well, don't forget, you can catch us every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday here in the UK at midday. And if you're in Germany, you can catch up with 11 a.m. I think it's for you, right, Julia, for the German
Yes,
stream?
exactly.
All of that. And then later on in the afternoon, the French stream too. So there you are. Thanks, everyone, for joining. And we'll see you next time. But for now, Artketeers assemble. Let's go.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you for watching.
All for
Bye-bye.
one and one brush for all.
No, we will have to take turns working.
There we go.
Can't have that.
Take care, everyone. See you
Take
later.
care.
Bye,
Bye. See
guys.
you later.
Bye.
Bye.